What's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope y'all have had a great weekend so far. Hope y'all are having a great Sunday morning. I got y'all an update. We're going to briefly talk about the potential weather pattern for the eastern U.S. as we get through the week, the work week, and into the weekend. And it looks like, maybe about 75-80% of the eastern U.S. is just going to have normal weather patterns for this time of the year. It looks like we're going to get above average temperature-wise, and there'll be some weather systems around the Ohio Valley and to the northeast, but nothing looks too crazy. But the thing that we're really watching is for you guys in the southern U.S. and the Gulf states, especially Texas, Louisiana, even Mississippi, maybe Alabama, for some tropical activity. It does look like Tropical Storm Nicholas is going to form and give y'all some definitely some hefty impact. So we're going to talk about the potential there. What is the ceiling of Tropical Storm Nicholas? How strong could it get? Could it make it to a hurricane? We're not sure, but we're going to talk about what's going on because some new data has came in, and we're trying to get a little bit more confidence on where this is going to go, and where it goes really is going to help us figure out how strong potential Tropical Storm Nicholas can get. So if you guys have not subscribed, definitely hit that subscribe button. I'm just a guy who's very passionate about weather. My setup will get much better in the future for any new viewers. So like the video if you like it. Thank y'all for the amazing support. If there's anything I can pray about, put it in the comments. Definitely, it gives me an opportunity to pray for you guys. It gives others an opportunity to do so too. Prayer is definitely powerful, guys. Take advantage of prayer and definitely have a relationship with God. It's very important in these times right now in the world. So thank y'all for the amazing support. And let's get going here. I also want to mention, I've had a couple people join my channel, and I just want to tell you I really appreciate it. There is a join tab on my YouTube page. I don't have any perks to give y'all, no t-shirts or anything, but I just want to let y'all know that I really appreciate it, and I appreciate anybody who's donated to my channel. It's much, much, much appreciated. It goes a long ways, trust me, guys. So let's briefly talk about what is going on in the eastern U.S. I'm just going to take a minute or two to talk about this. If you look here, I'm going to back it up right here, and we're going to get to about Monday. Obviously, common sense tells most people that the warmer colors, like the oranges, the reds, are warmer than average temperatures. These are what you call anomalies, which are something compared to average. So the bluer colors is cooler than average temperatures. So it's been a beautiful weekend across the eastern U.S. Well, temperatures are going to moderate, humidity is going to increase, and there's just going to be more moisture in the air. So we're going to get more into I wouldn't say a summer pattern, but it's definitely going to be more summer-like than fall-like out here. And here you go, especially the mid-Atlantic, a ridge builds right here. And there's going to be much warmer than average temperatures across, especially the mid-Atlantic and parts of the Northeast as we're going here. You see these cooler anomalies right here. This isn't cool, crisp fall air for the southern states, guys. This is basically rain-cooled air. So you're going to have temperatures in the low 80s, the 70s, which is below average for high temperatures. But it's because it's rain-cooled air on what we're about to talk about, which is going to be tropical moisture. So that's cloud cover and rain-cooled air. Meanwhile, you got temperatures above average. So above average this time of the year for the Northeast is upper 70s into 80s with higher humidity. So going forward here, it looks like into the weekend, we're going to have above average temperatures. So I don't think we're going to have a fall-like weekend next weekend, that's for sure. It's going to warm up gradually. As far as rainfall, I think there'll be a couple systems flying around. We'll get a little bit more detailed on this maybe a little bit later in the week. A couple systems flying around that will provide some moisture throughout the week for the Ohio Valley and Northeast. But you look at all this moisture down here, this is what we're about to talk about, which is Nicholas. And there is a chance for a lot of heavy rain, which right now looks to be by far the biggest threat for this tropical system, Tropical Storm Nicholas, that could potentially form. By far looks like the biggest threat. So you look at the latest 8 a.m. update per the National Hurricane Center. I mean, this looks like a fruit bowl out here. You got oranges, reds, and yellows. First off, this isn't going to be any kind of threat. It's kind of surprised me. This is definitely increased in likelihood that it could develop. We've been mentioning this, that this could potentially impact the weather across the eastern seaboard. This upper level low right here in the as we get into later into the week. And then, as we thought, so this system right here has really dropped off as far as a chance of developing the more northerly storm, and then this has increased to a 60% chance to develop here in the next 5 days. So this is going to be the one that we're going to talk about a little bit later, and it has a chance to develop long-term into a long-lived hurricane across the tropical Atlantic before the main development region begins to kind of slow down And this is the one we're really going to talk about in this video. 90% chance to develop. In fact, by the time some of you watch this, this may get upgraded to a tropical depression. I'll have another video tonight. But either way, here in the very short term, the next 24 to 36 hours, it's going to enter not an extremely favorable environment, but a better favorable environment for tropical development. And I'm pretty confident that this is going to become our next named storm, which will be Nicholas. So let's go here. So let's take a look at what's going on across the basin here. So we're really going to focus on this. This is our 94L invest, if you will. So it's just an invest right now. It's probably going to get updated to a tropical depression here in the next 12 to 24 hours. There's an upper low right here, which is kind of driving the steering flow for this and actually aiding this storm a little bit, but it also providing a little bit of short-term shear. It's going to enter an environment here in the next, I would say, 12 to 24 hours. It's probably going to become a little bit more favorable. The upper level winds aloft are going to become favorable for more development until it gets a little bit further north, and different directional flows aloft and at the surface are going to be fighting for dominance, I guess you can say, to where this storm is going to end up going. And I'm going to talk about that too here. You see this little spin right here? This is an upper level low that's going to be moving very slowly over the next couple of days. That has a chance, 50% chance, to develop in the next 5 days. Then you got this little system that's going to start to dwindle away because it's getting a little bit too far north at this point. Then we have a system right here we're watching. But we're really going to talk about this. So here we go. We're going to see what's going on with the latest updated information. Line graphs are still split on what's this going to do. It could take the more northerly route. The stronger the storm is, the more it's going to take this route right here. The weaker the storm, the more it's going to go just kind of into southern areas of Texas and Mexico. And we're going to talk about why in this video too. So as far as the intensity forecast here, a lot more members now. In fact, the majority of the members have this making it to a tropical storm. Heck, in the next 12 hours, so the next half day, this would be actually by tonight. But we'll see here what's going to happen. But most members have a tropical storm now. We look at the latest GFS, we'll look at the operational run, and then we're going to look at some factors that's going to promote tropical development here. Going forward, as early as Monday afternoon, this begins to develop into a tropical system per the GFS. It actually develops this into a pretty strong tropical storm if we're looking at the millibar low pressure, if we're just looking at that. The thing is this is going to be a big time easternly, how can I say, this is going to be definitely much more impactful on the eastern side of the storm, which could be good news for you guys in coastal areas of Texas. Well, there's a lot of air. You know, it's funny, all the comments I get down, there's a lot of people who need rain, I reckon, in the coastal areas of Texas. So I think there's a lot of people who actually would like a little bit of rain, but this is really looking like it's going to be definitely more north, the northeast, the easternly favored storm, meaning all the impacts are going to be a lot favored on this side. And I'm going to tell you why here in a second. The storm has a chance to get decoupled. There's going to be dry air and shear up here, and I really think the north to northwest, the western part of the storm, is basically going to be non-existent and almost cut in half. But the GFS has this making landfall, and actually in Louisiana as a tropical storm. Nicholas gets into the basically the southern U.S. and delivers some moisture, and then that's all she wrote there. But you look at the European does the same thing, but notice how the European is weaker. So we're getting into Monday evening, and it has about a 1004 millibar low pressure here, and it has a weaker storm. Therefore, it brings it into southern areas of Texas. So it's a little bit different scenario. It's because it's a weaker storm, and I'm about to explain why a weaker storm goes more southwest and a stronger storm goes more northeast here in a second. So a weaker storm gets trapped up in there. If we look at the moisture depicted off this system right here, going forward here, we're getting into Monday afternoon, and you notice all of the moisture is on the east side. The heaviest impacts are on the east side. That is because the environmental factors up here definitely aren't supportive of a lot of moisture. Dry air shear is really making this almost like a half a cane or a half a tropical storm, where most of the impacts are on this side. And that happens a lot with tropical storms with weaker systems. Usually it's not a well put together tropical system. It's normally one side of it's much more stronger than the other. And that looks to be the case with Nicholas here in the future. But as you can tell, the European moves it well into Texas. It's a weaker storm. And so let's look at what's going on here with as far as steering currents and strengthening and therefore. So in the short term, if we're looking at something like a GFS scenario, there's going to be winds this basically favors more of a favorable upper level aloft winds here. There's a nice outflow, anticyclonic flow here going on here. It's helping to ventilate the storm in the short term. But as you get going here and forward here, this right here from the southwest, you have some southwest shear that begins to almost decouple the storm. This is going to happen. So the storm's right into here, but it gets heavily impacted by some shear to the northwest of the storm. This is going to tamper any significant strengthening in the storm, even though it's sitting in bathtub-like water that could promote rapid intensification. Basically, the upper level winds are not going to be favorable for rapid intensification. So what happens here is that flow aloft, and this is a flow aloft here, is going to be coming out the northwest, trying to push this storm to the northeast. So a stronger storm, a more robust storm, is going to be influenced more by that flow aloft. So, that's something that we have to watch out for. A more stronger storm is going to pull more northeast. So if it's a stronger storm, you guys in Louisiana have to watch out for this, because if it basically goes more northeast, that's going to be the stronger scenario. The weaker scenario just kind of plows into Texas, delivers a lot of tropical moisture, and then that's all she wrote. Stronger storm could potentially get to a low-end hurricane. You can't take that out the realm of possibility at all. But it begins to get affected by a ton of shear, and regardless, even if this somehow becomes a Category 1 hurricane, it's going to be definitely easternly favored as far as a more impactful storm to the eastern side of the storm, which to me wouldn't be good news at all, because to me that would mean that if the storm gets right here, then it looks like the areas that got heavily impacted by Ida will get hit very hard by some tropical moisture and a little bit of winds here. But the flow at the surface, we look at high pressure with this. So the flow at the surface moving forward, you have a little bit of a high pressure right here, a ridge of high pressure. What that is trying to do is at the surface around this ridge of high pressure, is trying to push winds out of the southeast, therefore trying to push the storm to the northwest. So you have a flow like this, and a weaker storm, because of that, would push this storm here. It's influenced a lot more by this surface flow. Therefore, that surface flow, basically a storm that's not as strong, would get pushed more into Texas. A more robust storm kind of create its own steering currents to a degree, if you will, and will get pushed more northeast. So you kind of have a flow aloft going this way, then you have a flow at the surface going this way. There's a guy, Tropical Tidbits, he is a great guy, Levi. I can't think of his last name. I always want to say Copeland, but that's not his last name. But Levi does a great job in his videos, Tropical Tidbits. He's the guy that created this site of explaining this. I've learned a lot from him over the last several months. So also a great YouTube channel to subscribe to. If I'm confusing y'all, my bad. Me explaining this is new to me, but to me, it being a weather guy that I am, listening to what he's saying makes so much sense, and he explains it so well. So I definitely you definitely want to watch his videos too. Don't just watch mine. Watch other YouTubers too, because they probably can do a better job of explaining this. To me, I'm always learning, always trying to get better. So hopefully the way I'm explaining it is a way to understand. But surface winds, because of this rich high pressure, is coming out of this way. Flow aloft is pushing it this way. So there's two different wind speeds here that is creating that shear, which I showed you right here. That shear right here, see the flow aloft, see these arrows pointing this way? That's to decouple the storm. And you look at the moisture here, this does a great job also of showing this. And you see the flow out of the, south-southeast here. That is helping to push this storm here, but you notice all the dry air up here. So look, all the dry air that gets really close to the circulation. This is going to help to limit any kind of rapid intensification. Now, a thing that will help intensification is something that is about as cut as dry as you can think of, and that's sea surface temperatures. Waters are plenty warm enough for any kind of intensification. They're in the mid to upper 80s Fahrenheit, so very warm here. As far as rainfall, you guys over the next several days could get several inches of rain, but this could tick a little bit east depending on how strong the storm is. But this is indicating in and around the Houston area several inches of rain over the next couple of days. Well, we'll watch this, but you see the areas in purple. If you're located in that area, expect between maybe as early as as early as Monday into about Thursday or Friday. Anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of rain. So definitely watch out here. So we'll get a little bit more specific on that. We'll take a deeper look into the other storms a little bit later tonight. Hope you guys have a great day. Thank you all for the support, and God bless all y'all.